Hello everybody, this is Jeffrey GT7 and welcome to the episode. In this episode I'll be covering 3 builds. As you can see, the first build is going to be using the Porsche 911 Strain version at Le Mans, which was a request build. I'll be showcasing on how to get the car, where to find the livery that I currently have in this car, and most importantly the build and race strategy at Le Mans. After that particular build, we're going to switch gears and we're going to be using the Lamborghini Adventador, which I did mention on trying to run before the update was released, but I just couldn't quite get the time to do it. But I'll be showcasing this particular build and be showcasing on, just like I did, I'm going to do with the Porsche, how to find the car, the build and setup for that particular race at Tokyo Expressway 600. And then for our final and last build that I'll be covering is going to be using a request build using the Toyota GT4 Celica at Tokyo Expressway with its new engine swap. So I'll be covering on same thing with the other 2 builds, on how to find the car, the livery, the parts, and of course the build and the race itself. So this is going to be 3 very detailed builds. If you like to watch all 3 of them, you can, but if there's a certain one you want to skip over and watch it, you're more welcome to do so. So without any further ado, let's get started. So in order to find the 911 GT1 Strain version, you can find this car at the Legends car dealership. The only negative thing about this car is of course going to be the price. It's going to be a pretty hefty price of 10 million credits if you have the funds, or if you want to farm this car. That is how much credits you need or buy this car. Now I'm going to be using this livery for this race. If you want to pretty much copycat the method I'm using, you're more welcome to do so. There's the hashtags if you want to basically copycat and look up for that livery, you can, but I don't think it really matters too much on what livery you use. Here is a particular livery, or the particular build I have for this car. If you want to go ahead and just pause the episode and just match the numbers you see on the build, you can. So that's the first part of the list. The second part of the list is not as complex. It's pretty simple. Just add a couple parts from the second page. Parts here and there. If you want to go ahead and just pause the episode and just, make sure you have everything else aligned to what I have my particular build, and that's going to be it for the build at Le Mans. The one thing I wanted to add to is that in this particular build, I've actually used my Logitech G29 wheel for this particular race, and let me say, the car felt very, very smooth. I had no issues whatsoever for the handling. Even driving behind the wheel, the car felt really good. I had complete control on that car. I wasn't, no concerns whatsoever of being worried about the car getting too tight on me or getting too much oversteer and let the car just spin out on its own. It's very planted, has great handling, especially in some of those corners, and the speed not too bad either. I would say for recommendation, if you're planning on trying to stretch out your fuel, just have map 6 from start to finish. That's why I currently have on the car right now. And the other trick you can also do for this particular run is what I like to call half shifting. That is when your bar on your RPM tracker is about halfway filled, where that little gravitational circle's at, and that's when you're going to shift gears, which is a helpful tool. Not only does it help you save some fuel, but it'll also save you some tires depending on what your track you're at. And you can actually go a pretty long way if you try to do both those methods of having map 6 on and doing the half shifting or even quarter shifting with a car. But as you can see, we're making a pretty good work toward the front. As we're in P6, we're going to go ahead and grab 2 more spots pretty easily as we approach the other chicane, and we're just right along with the race leaders quickly. So if you may have guessed, for speed and for handling, you should not worry about too much. You should easily be able to outperform the Group 4 cars. Fuel, that could be a little bit of different story, so that's why I would recommend just racing on map 6 pretty much almost the whole entire race, unless you have some fuel left saved over and you can just crank it back down to map 1 and just see how fast you can go. As we finish up this particular straightaway, we're going to go ahead and grab that lead, and basically from there on we're going to keep it. Fast forward to lap 3, we have found ourselves in the middle of a rain shower, and we're at the point where intermediates is the tires is where we're supposed to be at right now. So we're kind of in a pretty tough scenario. As you can see, we have no grip. We're going to hit the wall, and we're just trying to do our best to take it nice and easy. No need to be too aggressive in the corners. Just let the car do its work. Just have to be a little bit careful. As you can see, like I said, no grip in that particular corner right here. We're going to make a mistake, and yeah, we're going to whip it around, spin out, make a little bit of contact on the left front car, but thankfully we did not receive any damage. So from that point on, you can see we're also very low on fuel, so I don't want to over rev the car. I'm going to go ahead and turn on traction control all the way to 5, and we're going to go ahead and shift all the way up to gear 6. That way I can have some traction from going to pit rev. But thankfully, even with the TCS set to 5, I really didn't have to do it, because as you can see, the car was able to easily get stabled pretty quickly. As we hit the pit road, we're going to go ahead and get rid of the traction control immediately. After that, we're going to go ahead and select intermediate tires for our tire compound for our next stint. So yeah, luckily for us, even though we were able to spin out, thankfully we were very close to pit road in order for us to be the first car to get the fresh intermediate tires for the track. And you can just see just behind us that how much of a big blob we have. Some of these cars having really a tough time out there on the track with their slick compounds tires, so they'll have to come in pit road too. And what we're going to do as well, we're going to go ahead and fill up our gas as well. Now for the gas part, we're going to only fill up at least 2 laps, because we know for sure we have to come back into pit road eventually, and we'll have to top off the fuel. But that's what I first thought about doing, but I changed my mind. I thought about doing it all the way as we possibly can. And a couple laps later, when the track did begin to dry up, we're going to come right back into pit road, get ourselves some new slicks, and finish off with that pit road strategy. Now I do know the track looks pretty cloudy and very overcasty, but I went ahead and checked the radar several times just to make sure that it was in fact dry, and it was. So same thing we're going to do with our last pit stop, except for difference is it's going to be, we're going to go ahead and put ourselves at least a little bit over past 2 laps worth of fuel into the car, and we should be good to go for the rest of the race. But yeah, the car, like I said, had no issues whatsoever with handling or speed with the car. It just felt really, really pleasant, very good to drive. So if you do have the cash laying around for this car, I would recommend it and just grabbing it, because it did very well. So we're going to go ahead and get our tires into the car and get our fuel all the way up a little bit past 2.2 or 2.3 is what I recommend doing, and just go ahead and just do 2 more time trial laps around the track, and that's going to be it. So as you can see, the sun is back out as we get to the last couple of chicanes for the final time at this race. We've actually caught up with some of the back markers too, so we really were laying down some pretty good laps and doing some good strategy. Went ahead and was able to put down all the way from 12th place to last place a lap down, so a very dominant drive for this car. So here's the vision results. Very smooth, fast car overall, and got ourselves that sweet clean race bonus, which is pretty quick. And that's going to be it for race 1. Race 2 with the Lamborghini Adventador. Here's the car. It's going to cost you not nearly as much as the 911 strain version. It's going to be at 400,000 credits, so just maybe one win at Le Mans should easily cover the cost for this car. That's where you find the car at Brand Central. After you grab the car, I'll show you guys the parts that I have on the car. Starting off with the race wheels, it's going to be the wheels that comes with the car. Make sure everything is set to standard, and that's going to be it for the wheels. The front bumper, make sure you have it set to type A. After you get that particular part equipped on the car, the side is going to be optional, whatever preference is for your particular looks. I went for type A for that. Rear bumper, you're going to keep that standard, and then as you guys can see, for your last part is in fact going to be the wing. Make sure you set the custom wing set, and that's going to be all the parts you need from car customization. So here's a look for the build, and you can see it actually is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. We got ourselves sport hard tires, fully customized differential. If you want to go ahead and just pause the menu and just copy the numbers, I'm pretty sure the numbers are as is. Downforce, as you can see, that's what I have for downforce. I do have ballast on the car as well for power restrictor at 97. Fully customized manual transmission with the top speed of whatever kilometers it is set on. That's what it's going to be for the car. Racing brakes and racing brake pads as well. increased body rigidity, and that is going to be it for the build. So not too crazy or too complicated. I just went ahead and just added some more weight to it, to the car, and just nerfed the overall HP, and that's pretty much going to be it for the car. As we get to our race at Tokyo Expressway, I do know that there are certain Lamborghinis that are really good at this track, and apparently the Adventador is one of those cars that you can just get and just really show up, and it can perform. As we get through our first corner, we're going to easily bypass the Porsche, making ourselves P6 as we get close to the main group. Now, in this particular race, I am also racing with my Logitech G29 race wheel, and just like Le Mans, the car felt very, very, very smooth. You might have a little bit of tightness from understeer, but apart from that, the car, it just excels really good in every category. Might not be the best when it comes to fuel, but for top speed, acceleration, and even handling, very, very good around the Tokyo Expressway 600. As you can see, we've easily are up to the top 5 in this race, and we're also are going to go ahead and catch up to this other pack as well. Going to get ourselves a good run on the Impreza, try and get ourselves a good run. We're going to try, not quite yet, force the issue on the Impreza, get ourselves another good corner, a good apex. We're going to go ahead and get the racing line away from the Impreza, moving ourselves to P4. And right in front of us is, of course, the RX-7 and the OG Supra right in front of us. We're going to try to get ourselves P2 if it's possible before we get to that hairpin. But if we don't get in time, I'm not going to be too entirely disappointed if we don't, because we do know that in the past that these two cars right here, they tend to overcook that last turn when braking, just like they're about to do right here. As you can see, they just clearly missed their braking point in that last turn. Get ourselves a nice sharp right hand turn. We're going to get a good run out of that apex, easily passing the RX-7 for P2, and that's going to be our first lap of the race. So a very quick, good first lap for us, and you can probably see down the road, there's the race leader right there. So we have a good shot to actually get the lead pretty early in this race. First lap, a very blistering 218.8, which is actually a pretty good first lap for a car. As we get closer and closer to the leader, getting a very good apex out of this corner, making our move on the inside, getting a little tap on that wall, but we're going to go ahead and take the lead away from the NSX, and from that point on, we basically just drove away from the rest of the field in this race. So after we get the lead, we're going to go ahead and fast forward to later in the run to lap 5. It's going to be our official hot lap for the race, and just to see on the times of this car, very, very quick, inconsistent lap times from this car, but this one's going to be the fastest overall. So I'm going to let you guys watch this hot lap, and then I'll see you guys when we get to our pit stop. Alright, so as we finish up lap 6, we're going to go ahead and make our pit stop for the race. As you guys saw, we did a blistering 205.9 for our Hotlap, which I thought was really good. For our pit stop, all I'll be doing here is refilling the car. The tires are still in good shape overall for the car, and even though it is going to be a very painful long wait for us to refill the car, I would say that even after our pit stop, we were able to actually stay as the race leader. Usually and traditionally, if you don't have a huge enough lead over the RX-7, the RX-7 will pass you while you're in the pit road. But as you can see, we got ourselves just quite enough a big buffer for us to actually keep the lead, which I thought was really cool. As we get the rest of the race done, as you can see, the front tires, they were pretty much cooked at the end of the race, but despite that, got ourselves a very decently good run out of this car, hitting a 26.07 overall for this run. So I would probably suggest that if you can, just go ahead and change your tires. Might help out at the end of the race. Got ourselves that clearance bonus, and that's going to be it for race 2. Now for our final race, if you guys want to figure out how to get the Celica GT4, here it is. You can find it at the used car dealership. Should be the very first car you see actually in the menu. The car is going to cost about 90,000 credits. It is a very particular, unique, early 90s car. Pretty much close to what the Rally Edition looks like. So that's how you get the car at the used car dealership. Moving now to the very special thing about the car. It's going to be the swap. But before that, make sure you do have the car a wide body before you actually do the swap. If you're curious on what the swap is, it's going to cost you about 500,000 credits. But first things first, you need to be level 50 in order for you to buy it. And as you guys can see, we are actually over that 600 pp limit, so we actually will have to do some nerfing even after adding the engine swap into the car. So this particular engine swap is going to be the Group 3 Lexus SC430 engine. And as you can see, everything is in the blue except for weight, but despite that, it doesn't really matter that much. Having this Group 3 engine is actually going to be pretty decently good for this car, especially at Tokyo Expressway 600, and I'll explain a bit later once we get to the race. But as you can see, the aspiration goes from turbocharged to naturally aspirate, so we actually do lose the turbo, which is quite unfortunate, switching to natural. But other than that, you can see everything else is in the blue, which is good in our part, and that's going to be it for the swap. Now let's say, hey, I'm not level 50 yet, is there a way for me to get the swap? The answer is yes. So what you're going to do is swing by your house and go to where that tape box is, the tuning part. So just go to this menu, click on it, and right up here is where your engine's at. Now for me personally, I do have that engine, so I can show you guys on what to do. If you have the word compatible on the top right where my cursor's at, and if you can see that that particular taskbar is a lighter shade gray color, go ahead and click on that. What you're going to do is you're going to mainly ignore this long paragraph. Just ignore it, okay? Whatever you do, just ignore it. Don't worry about it. What you're going to do after that, you're going to hit install. Just click on the white install button, and after that it'll ask you one last time if you want to go for it. Say yes, and as you can see, we actually have done it. We've got the little engine logo right beside the engine that's on the pallet, and if we back out, you can see our PP has increased, and so has our HP has increased too. And that's how you do the alternate way of getting an engine swap. So after you do that, the next thing of course is livery. It's going to be this lovely black and blue and white Castrol livery, which if you basically want to look it up, I suggest doing just search Castrol, or you can just search me up in the game, Jeffrey Gt7YT. If you do in fact follow me, I do have it in my newsfeed. Here are the parts that you need if you want to go ahead and just copycat the livery. Here they are. Here's the rims, raised gram lights, just make sure it's wide and 17-inch. For the front bumper, make sure you have it set to type B. And after you get that equipped to the car, the next thing is going to be, of course, the side of the car, which I said before is going to be optional if you would have it on your car. I think it's just for a detailed look for the car. So for this particular livery, it's going to be type A. After you get done with that, the next part is going to be the rear bumper, and it's going to be type A once again. And after you get that equipped, the next part you're going to be focused on is going to be the wing of the car. And then for the wing is going to be custom wing set. It doesn't matter if you set the high, low, or medium. Just make sure you have it set to custom wing set. And then for our very last part that you'll need for this particular build is going to be the roll cage Type C, and that's going to be all the parts you'll need from car customization. So after you get your parts together, let's now swing on to the final build of the episode. And here's a particular build. We got ourselves sport hard tires with fully customized suspension and fully customized differential. I would recommend if you go ahead and just pause the episode and just copy down the numbers. Downforce, as you can see, we got 50 for the front, 305 for the back. I didn't change anything on the power or anything like that. Manual transmission set to 340 kilometers and just keep it as is. No need to special tune the transmission. And then for the last part of your list, racing clutch and flywheel with weight reduction stages 1, 2, and 3 with increased bi rigidity. And that's going to be it for the whole entire build for the car. So let's go ahead and check out the race now. As you can see, I do have this particularly set to replay camera because of two reasons. One, I was actually in the middle of a party wearing my headsets, and usually when that happens, it basically cuts out the audio of the cars and the engines. So I would rather do a replay than to have it completely silent. That's one reason. Two, the main reason is since we got ourselves a Group 3 engine, for this particular run, there is no need to make a pit stop. Now, if you're curious on what the handling is like for this car, as you can see, the car did in fact get a bit tight and we make some contact with the Porsche. You are going to have a little bit of an understeer from this car. So if you need to make some changes on the setup, you can to allow it to where if you would want to add more front downforce, you can. Or if you want to change something to the springs itself, you can also do that too. But despite that, the car itself, you shouldn't really worry about too much on the car spinning out or anything like that. The only strange part about it is if you potentially brake from a high rate of speed. I did notice that the rear of the car actually did begin to sway at one particular angle. So if you make a right-hand turn, the car is going to sway a little bit on the rear of the car, just a little bit, which I thought was pretty interesting. But despite that, with that issue and with understeer, the car is going to be pretty quick. It's going to be fast. You're going to don't have to worry about making a pit stop at all. For this car, you will have to worry about with a little bit of front tire wear degradation at the end of the race. But despite that, the car should still serve you pretty good in this race. As we get done with our first lap, we're going to get a good run out of the front two drivers in front of us, and we are going to sneak on by and get ourselves P2 at the end of the first lap. May not be as quick as the first lap compared to the Lamborghini Adventador, but it's still a good sign for us in this race that we're going to get P2 in this race. We'll get a good substitution from the RX-7. Crossing the line is going to be a little bit slower than the Adventador. It's going to be a 2:19.5, so literally a second behind compared to the Adventador. As we get to the main straight, we are pulling away from the rest of the field, which is good. We're going to be within the high 190s as our top speed, so we're pretty much going to be the fastest car when it comes to this race. Now, you're going to have a lot of excess fuel, and then the more fuel you burn, the higher top speed is going to be at in the race. So here's the onboard shot of the car, and you can just tell that the car is also very planted. So despite having a little bit of the tight understeer feel and the weird sway from the back of the car, it can actually turn pretty decently well, considering the understeer issue. And you can see it right here. Once we get this braking point, once turn left, you can just tell the car is not really giving me the most out of the front of the car. So apart from that issue, you should be okay. As we get closer and closer to the Honda, we're going to pull ourselves some more good turns out of these turns and being able to reel in that Honda very quickly. We're going to go ahead and set up ourselves the move after this left-hander turn, hopefully. And by then, once we approach that hairpin, we should be able to get a nice shot from the leader. And we actually did get a nice run, kept the wall out of the wall, get ourselves a run out of that, a little bit of that straightaway. We're going to brake right as we approach that first yellow sign, and we're going to shut the door on the NSX. And you can see there's a swayness right there at that hairpin. But despite that, we get back on the gas pretty quickly, and the car can actually take that hairpin pretty quickly as well. So if you have troubles with the hairpin, this car can actually help you out a lot at that hairpin. As we complete lap 2, it's going to be a much improved, better lap compared to our first lap. And from that point on, we basically just run away from the rest of the field. It's going to be a 207.4 for our lap 2. And like I said before, we basically did a whole entire testing time trial at this track. We did manage to hit a much faster lap on lap number 6, but as you can see from that point on, our lap times did begin to dwindle a little bit. As you also saw, we actually over-braked that last turn as well, and the car did begin to lose some time, but like I mentioned before, the front tires were beginning to basically been wearing down and tearing down, so just watch out for that when it happens to your car. But despite that, we're going to get ourselves a smooth overall total time of 25:41 for our race, and that's going to be it for race 3. And if you're curious, we did manage to get the standard bonus because we made some contact, and we also went over the white line on that last turn on the last lap, which was a little bit of annoying, and that's going to be it for our episode. Alright, so our next preview of the episode, we got ourselves 3 new builds. The first one is going to be the Renault Clio with its new engine swap. I actually had a request to do this run at Pt.2 Expressway, so hopefully this particular car will bring out a lot of the hype like that particular swap did with the Impreza Type R, and hopefully it'll do well. I think it will, and it should, at Pt.2 Expressway 600. That's going to be our first build. After that, we're going to do another request build, which is going to be using the classic NSX JCTC at Pt.2 Expressway 600. I'll be using this car, so hopefully I can conjure up some magic with this particular car and it do very well at that race, which I think it will, considering that this is probably one of the Group 3s that actually are overall the lowest points in that car. And after we go for this particular run with the NSX, our last particular build is going to be using another request build, the Mitsubishi Twin Turbo GTO at Pt.2 Expressway with an engine swap. So I'll be covering all these 3 builds. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, I want to go ahead and leave a like. If there's a particular build you want to see, you're more welcome to put in the comment below. And if you guys enjoyed what you saw today and like to see some more of my content, why not go hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. And with that being said, hopefully you guys have a great rest of the day or night. Remember about me, and I'll see you guys later, and take care.